You know, every restaurant is a buffet if you're willing to pay, especially here in Las Vegas, the all-you-can-eat capital of the world. Hello friends, it's me, Shin, and I'm on a quest to vlog every restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip as well as downtown on Fremont Street. I'm 150 in, and this week for number 151, I'm coming to you from the Planet Hollywood, from the newly opened Caramella Italian restaurant. It has one of the most incredible patios I've ever seen here on the Strip, but what's the food like? We're gonna find out today. I'll see you inside. All right, everyone, and here I am seated at Caramella at the Planet Hollywood, Las Vegas. A stunning restaurant here. You enter through a cocktail lounge, which then leads way to a candy shop. But the candy shop holds a secret. It's actually an entranceway into their speakeasy. Now, it wasn't open at the time of my arrival, but I'm told that they have live DJs and a full cocktail menu. It looks like a lot of fun to be had in there. The main dining hall space is so beautiful. Beautiful stylized chandeliers provide dimly lit and intimate space with a classic marble and wood tone, booths and tables for seating, a really magnificent dining space. Speaking of magnificent though, the true gem here at Caramella is their patio. This has to be one of the best views of Las Vegas Boulevard from a restaurant. Right across the way from the Bellagio, you're gonna be able to see the water show from here. This is truly prime patio real estate. A beautiful cocktail lounge, speakeasy, dining room, and a patio to really write home about. It is quite a vibe in here. Now, regardless of the vibes, you know, it's all about the food for me, so let's take a look what they have to eat on the menu. All right, let's start with the cocktail menu here, Caramella. Let's take a look inside. Top the night off, very beautiful menu here. Now feel free to take a pause in the video if you'd like to take a closer look at these drinks. But we have the cocktails here up front. Looks to all be about $22 per cocktail, so not cheap by any means. Here is your wine by the glass, your sparkling and your rosés and reds up top, and then your whites and dessert wines down here. Here are your spirits, your vodkas and tequilas up top here. And then we have some gin on the left. Your rum and cognac down here. Everything looks to be around that $20 range. Continue looking up these drinks, whiskey and bourbon list here. Scotch as well. This is a pretty extensive Scotch and bourbon list. Lots of whiskey there. And then this brings us to the last page. A couple of beers, coffee, and tea. And they serve Pepsi products here at Caramella for your sodas. And that is the beverage menu. Now, if you watched my videos long enough, you know I typically don't drink on weekdays. I have a really hard time waking up if I do any kind of drinking, and since I've got work early in the morning tomorrow, just gonna be a Diet Pepsi today. Let's take a look at what they have to eat next. Alrighty, so here is your menu at Caramella. We'll start with the appetizers. Let's see here. We've got jumbo shrimp with ricotta crostini. Ooh, that sounds good. Caesar salad, eggplant parm, polenta board. Ooh, veal meatballs. That sounds good. Let me see here. Calamari, tuna tartare arancini. That sounds interesting. Wagyu tartare, bone marrow surf and turf. A lot of really good looking appetizers here. And then we'll take a look. Okay, they can also add truffles to all of your dishes here. But we have some pastas. Rigatoni, baked manicotti, spicy tomato penne. Yeah, this looks good. And then you have your fire and roasted and your grilled section here. Looks like your meats there on the left, filet mignon, New York strip, bone and ribeye and the like, as well as your seafood on the right there. Branzino, lobster, that all looks good. A couple of add-ons for your entrees. Various sauces on the left. You can add some more options there on the right. Jumbo lump crab cake, lobster tail, always a nice addition. Here are the house specialties: chicken alla diavola, chicken parm, tenderloin, pork. Yeah, this is all looking really good. And what is this? Oh, wait. King crab leg scampi. Okay, that sounded pretty good too. And here are your trimmings. Looks like some mushroom and gorgonzola, potato gratin, mascarpone cream spinach. Ooh, Wagyu steak fries. Yeah, a very nice menu here at Caramella. A lot of really good looking options here at Caramella. Plenty I'm looking forward to trying today. You know how it goes in my videos. Every restaurant is a buffet if you're willing to pay. I'm gonna get a nice variety, and together we're gonna see what Caramella is all about. Appetizers are coming up first. I'll see you a little bit when they arrive. Welcome back, everyone. Now the appetizers just got here. This is looking really good. Let me give you a view. Now I got an order of their whipped ricotta crostini, as well as their Caesar salad, the veal meatballs, the tuna tartare arancini, and the crispy porchetta. This is all looking really good. Let's give it a try. We're gonna kick things off with the crispy porchetta. You would not believe the aroma coming off of this dish. It smells great, and hopefully it tastes as good as it smells. Let's give it a try. Oh yeah, that's good. A very nice start to the appetizers. This is a very flavorful pork dish. A very rich and succulent pork meat here. A fair amount of the fat in this pork is rendered perfectly. There's almost a buttery feel to this pork. Very soft, very tender, very flavorful. I do like that. Now, texture-wise, while it is very soft pork, the name of this dish is a crispy porchetta, and that's just a little bit where this dish falls flat. The crispy portions, while present, they're not as crispy as I would personally prefer, and a lot of that crispy texture has been softened due to the moisture from the chimichurri sauce on top. Now, this chimichurri sauce is really good. Slightly sweet, very garlicky. There's a hint of spice. Now that I'm reading the menu, this is a jalapeno chimichurri, but I wouldn't call this a spicy dish. It's a very approachable heat. A satisfyingly meaty porchetta topped with a very flavorful chimichurri. I'm finding this quite enjoyable. A nice start to the appetizers. If that skin was a little bit crispy, I would really have loved this. Next up, veal meatball. 3 meatballs to an order. I've cut the first one in half here, and I certainly love a good meatball. Let's see how this is. Oh, that was tasty. There's a lot to like about this meatball. This meatball comes in a nice breadcrumb coating. Perfectly fried. I really like the crisp when it comes to the exterior. And you do have a soft and tender meatball in the center. It is a well-seasoned meatball, albeit a bit on the salty side. But I don't know if that's just the meatball by itself. I think it's a combination of all the ingredients here. While in general the meatball is well-seasoned, it's also topped with a pecorino cheese and a seasoned mascarpone cream. And I think the combination of all of them together is what's bringing on the salty flavor profile. The marinara sauce here is pretty good. A slightly sweet tomato sauce, lots of garlic, and actually a fair amount of basil as well. This is a very floral tasting marinara sauce. I do like the textures here though, and in general this is a pretty solid flavor. A nice little meatball here, that's good. Next up, tuna tartare arancini. Now when I read this off the menu, I was very curious as to what I was going to receive. Arancinis are typically deep fried risotto balls, and I wasn't sure how they're going to get a tuna tartare in there, but I suppose this is an Italian play on crispy tuna rice. Let's give it a taste. I've got some mixed feelings on this one. Texturally, I actually really like this dish. The tuna is soft but not mushy. It still has a fresh firmness to it. I do like that. Now when it comes to the taste, I can't exactly distinguish the mild flavors of that tuna in the bite. There's a lot of other competing flavors here, and I would say the tuna is relatively lost. The first flavor you actually taste is the arancini, and that part is good. Perfectly fried arancini ball, a beautiful crispy exterior, and the risotto rice in the center has a firm chew to it. That's all good. The arancini actually also has a really nice flavor. Well seasoned, nice amounts of garlic here. I do like this arancini ball. Now there's something like a spicy, creamy lemon sauce on the bottom of all these arancinis. It is a rich sauce with a fair amount of citrus. You can really taste the lemon here. While all the flavors on their own are distinctively good, I think my biggest issue with this dish is that I'm tasting all of the elements individually, and they don't ever seem to meld in the middle of the bite. The two major flavors that keep vying for my attention are the garlic and the lemon, and I wish they played a little bit more in harmony. And while those two flavors have gone together well in the past, there's just a little bit of a clash here. While I wouldn't exactly call this unbalanced, I just personally wish that the flavors came together a little bit better for me. A creative and inventive dish though, I was happy to try that one. Next up, whipped ricotta crostini. I believe the name tells everything about it. Ricotta on bread. Hopefully it's good. Let's give it a shot. Oh yeah, that's good. I really like this appetizer. It's relatively simple and straightforward, but it's executed well, and I do like the flavors here. They're using a very rustic bread for their crostini, while slightly crisp and crusty on the outside. The center of this bread has an airy toast to it, a slightly earthy and nutty flavor from this bread also. I actually really like this pane rustica. That of course then brings the discussion to the ricotta cheese, and it's very enjoyable here. I really love the airy, whipped nature of this cheese, a really whimsical and playful texture. I like it a lot. You get a natural sweetness from some honey here, as well as a touch of citrus from some orange zest. This appetizer is light, refreshing, but still very tasty. I quite like that crostini, that's good. And last but certainly not least, I'm gonna try out their classic Caesar salad. I don't get salad too often on the channel, but I do like a good Caesar, and I'm hoping Caramella has a good one. Let's see how it is. Yeah, that's good. A well-made but standard Caesar salad here. Crisp romaine lettuce, a little bit of that natural bitter flavor to it. Perfectly fine produce here for the salad. A fair amount of Parmesan cheese on the salad is delivering a nice salinity. and an enjoyable Caesar dressing. Rich, salty with a little bit of a garlicky tang. And the salad isn't completely drowning in it. A nice light application of that dressing is working well here. Definitely loving the croutons in this salad. Very clearly made in-house. I wouldn't be surprised if that rustic bread from the Cristinis are used here for these croutons. Nicely dehydrated, wonderful crisp, and a nice garlicky, herby flavor as well. A little bit of black pepper rounds out the flavors. A nice Caesar salad here. A perfectly enjoyable Caesar salad, that's good. All right, everyone, now that's all the appetizers I'm trying today. A few more bites, I'm gonna box this all up to go, and then we'll do our first round of entrees. Don't go, I'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. My first round of entrees just got here. With my first round, I decided to try a lot of their Italian classics. Let me give you a view. I got their baked manicotti, as well as their cavatelli bolognese, and their blue crab malfadine. Chicken parm and salmon al forno here as well. And this is all looking really tasty. Let's give them a try. I'm gonna start things off with the chicken parmesan. One of my favorite Italian dishes, definitely a go-to for me when I go to any Italian restaurant. Let's see how it is here at Caramella. Yeah, that's good. A solid chicken parmesan here. A nice breaded layer to this chicken parm. A great cook to it. It is nice and crispy on the edges, though obviously much softer where the breading meets the sauce. We did have the marinara sauce before, and I do still like it here. A slightly sweet tomato sauce, incredibly garlicky, and again, very pungent, very aromatic when it comes to that basil flavor. I actually really like this. A juicy and tender chicken cutlet here. It's nicely seasoned, you do get a good taste with this chicken, and a nice layer of the cheese here provides an additional salinity. A chicken parm has to have a nice layer of cheese, and I'm happy to report it's good here. I wouldn't say anything revolutionary, but this is a well-executed chicken parmesan. A classic well done, that was enjoyable. Next up, the salmon al forno. I gotta admit, this actually smells incredible, though it is a thin salmon fillet. As long as it tastes good though, that's all I care about. The salmon al forno. Oh, that is very good. A simple and straightforward recipe, but it's executed very well. Great cook on the salmon. Despite its thin profile, it is cooked medium, and so you had a very tender fish bite here. Mild in flavor, it was quite good. Nicely seasoned also. You can really appreciate the flavor of the salmon here. I commend the cook on this fish. So much flavor coming from these breadcrumbs. It's nice having a bit of that crunchy element when it comes to the texture, but it really is all about the flavors. These toasted breadcrumbs are delivering a bit of a nutty taste, but you can tell that these breadcrumbs have been soaked in a garlic herb butter. There's a fragrant and pungent flavor here. Between the moist-mouthed fish and these flavorful breadcrumbs, this does come together as a very good bite. A nice salmon dish right there, I like that a lot. Next up, the cavatelli bolognese. Now, I happen to be a fiend for a good bolognese, so I'm really hoping it's good here at Caramella. Cavatelli bolognese. Oh, that is really good. Now, this is a nicely executed pasta dish. Starting with the pasta, this cavatelli is quite dense, but I love the cook on it. Just a little bit past al dente, but it has a very firm chew. And because of the density of the pasta, while you don't taste it up front, you absolutely get those starchy, earthy flavors in the aftertaste. A good bolognese sauce has to be incredibly meaty, and so I'm thrilled to see that this is a very meaty sauce. There's a lot of tender beef found in this recipe, adding a nice richness in general to the sauce. Some good protein here. It's a well-seasoned bolognese sauce, certainly not bland, very savory, and you can absolutely make out the dry flavors of the red wine that's been reduced in this recipe. It's rounded out by the salinity of the cheese. This is a nice and well-made bolognese sauce. Really happy with that one, I like that a lot. Next up, baked manicotti. I gotta tell you, I really love a good manicotti, and spinach filled happens to be one of my favorite variants. I'm hoping it's good here at Caramella. Let's give it a try. Yeah, not bad. Not a bad manicotti dish here, just one or two elements keeping it from being great. Starting the discussion, I actually do like the pasta here. Not too soft, not too mushy, but certainly not al dente. It's even gone through an additional baking process after it's been cooked. And so while there are some crispier edges from that baking time, certainly a nice flavor to that pasta though, no complaints there. When it comes to a baked manicotti like this is about as good as the texture can get. A nice amount of richness from a lot of cheese on top of this recipe. And we have that same fragrant garlicky and basil-filled marinara sauce, providing a nice flavor profile here. You absolutely get the bitterness of the spinach. It's soft, well incorporated into the ricotta cheese, with a little bit of an acid note to it as well. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a splash of lemon on this ricotta cheese filling. Now, my biggest issue with this manicotti is that the ricotta cheese inside, while it is rich, creamy, and it's been incorporated well with that spinach, it's just a little bit under-seasoned. While I thought the ricotta cheese on top of that crostini earlier was well seasoned, I can't say the same for the cheese in this manicotti. I wouldn't say it's bland, but it's certainly skirting with that line. A little more salt in this cheese would go a long way. Not bad otherwise though, everything else is coming together well. A little bit of additional seasoning tonight, I think this could have been really great. All right, everyone, now the last dish that I'm trying from this first round of entrees is going to be blue crab malfatine. Now, this is not a pasta I'm really all that familiar with, but looking at it, it reminds me of some thinly sliced lasagna noodles. And I've got a nice big forkful here, blue crab malfatine. Oh man, okay, that's really good. A well-cooked malfatine noodle here, a nice firm chew to it, not soft or mushy, although flavor-wise I can't say that I taste it particularly well. The texture of the pasta is really what I need to be on point though, and so I'm happy to report it's solid here. Soft and tender crab meat here with that beautiful sweet flavor. We have the same garlic butter breadcrumbs that have been toasted and applied here, delivering a bit of that nutty and pungent flavor. Really enjoying that. There's a very light sauce here for this pasta dish. You get some acid and some citrus here, a little bit of lemon in that sauce, and a very light creaminess as well. I wouldn't necessarily even call this a rich dish. The sauce is sparingly applied. Now, what gives a lot of depth and additional complexity to this dish is the addition of these hot peppers. Now, this is absolutely a spicy dish. These Fresno chilies are not here to play. They're offering a lot of spice, a fair amount of heat, but what's great is that it's localized to the chilies and only a mild amount of spice is infused in the rest of the dish. The spice comes in punctuated waves when you get a bit of that chili on the fork. It's very tasty, very good here. This was a really tasty dish. I like this one a lot. All right, everyone, now that's all of the dishes I'm trying from this first round of entrees. A few more bites. I'm gonna box this all up to go, and then we'll do the next round. Don't go away, I'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. My second round of entrees just got here. This is looking so good. Let me give you a view. Now, I got their filet mignon as well as their king crab leg scampi, some Wagyu steak fries, as well as their mushroom and gorgonzola potato gratin. This is looking like an epic steak dinner. Let's give it a try. Let's start things off with the filet mignon. Now, I got my filet cooked rare today with a cool red center. Looks like it's been cooked to temperature. Here's the filet mignon. Oh yeah, that's good. A well-prepared filet mignon here. Now, filet is not exactly the most fatty piece of beef, very lean cut here, so not exactly a super rich bite, though there's certainly a layer of butter that's been applied here. You can tell that this has been butter basted for some additional richness. They've developed an excellent crust, a perfect Maillard reaction on that beef, a little bit of that additional smoky flavor, with just a touch of crisp to that exterior when it comes to texture. A very nice cook to this filet. A well-seasoned filet mignon here also. Soft and tender beef in the center. Again, as mentioned, because this is a much less fatty cut of beef, you really get to appreciate the essence of the flavor of the beef here. A very nice steak, that was good. Next up, I want to try the king crab scampi. I love a good scampi recipe and I love king crab, so if you put the two together, I'm sure it's going to be magic. Let's give this a shot. That is delicious. Oh, this is easily my favorite bite that I've taken tonight. I genuinely love everything about this dish. Starting off with the king crab here, outstanding cook on this. Ultra soft, tender crab meat here. It's not dried out, not stringy. A wonderful bouncy texture to this with such a robust, briny, sweet flavor. I'm a huge fan of king crab, and the king crab here at Caramella is really good. A little bit of an updated take on a scampi sauce. You certainly have a lot of butter and garlic here, as well as oil, a nice pungent and rich flavor. But you also get the additional salinity of some capers, parsley adding some additional flavor, and then just a little hint of heat coming from these sliced chilies. A luxurious king crab top with a very flavorful scampi sauce like this is a huge winner in my book. Really love that one. That was so good. Next up, the mushroom and gorgonzola potatoes gratin. This is a very rich looking dish. Got a nice big forkful. Let's see how this is. Yeah, that's pretty good. Wow, this is a flavorful dish. It's very, very heavy. Ultra rich and decadent. I'm pretty sure an adult human being would pass out immediately if they were to eat this whole dish. A lot of cheese, a lot of cream, a very rich flavor here when it comes to these potatoes. The mushrooms provide a nice earthy flavor as well as a bit of a spongy texture, and the potatoes themselves are well cooked. A somewhat firm but relatively soft chew on these potatoes, and their starchy flavor is absolutely coming through. A well-seasoned dish, although I would say the cheese is probably the most predominant flavor. It's quite heavy, but it does taste good. A little bit of a heads up for those wanting to try this dish. Might want to get a little bit of additional caffeine just to help you stay awake. It's very heavy. All right, everyone, now the last dish that I'm trying today is going to be the Wagyu French fries. Quite the aroma coming off of these French fries. Now that I'm looking at this more closely, I'm pretty sure these are shaved truffles, and hopefully it tastes great. Wagyu steak fries. Oh, those were very good. Really good French fries here. Very obviously made from scratch. A really great texture on these potatoes. Nice and crispy on the outside with a super pillowy and fluffy center. They've been seasoned well, and given that they've been cooked in some kind of a Wagyu beef tallow, there's a little less of an oily feel here. And I guess the best way to describe it is that it tastes like a cleaner French fry than ones cooked in canola or vegetable oil. They feel just a little bit less greasy, and the flavors of the potato comes through much more naturally. I really like these French fries. While you do get a nice potato flavor here, what I really love is the accent flavor of the truffle. You have real shaved truffles here, providing a little bit of that pungent, earthy flavor. It's much more subtle in the bite. It tastes really good. Oh man, am I gonna have to start making my own French fries with beef tallow? This might have converted me. Some truly outstanding French fries. I like these a lot. All right, my friends, now that's all the food I'm trying today. Just a few more bites. I'm gonna box this all up to go, and then we'll do a little bit of dessert next. Don't go anywhere because sweets are coming up. All right, everyone, now all of that food has been packed away and ready to go, but we do have to do a little bit of sweets to end the meal, right? Let's take a look at that dessert menu together. So here is your dessert menu at Caramella. Starting off at the top, looks like they have a signature tart, but there's also tiramisu, New York style cheesecake, and some candy selections from that candy store up front. That's all really looking good. Let's see here. We also have some after dinner wine, so your dessert wines here, as well as some cognac and brandy down here. What else do we have on this dessert menu? Going to the final page, coffee and tea. You've got your regular or decaf coffee, espresso cappuccinos and the like. Tea down there as well. And that is your dessert menu here at Caramella. A very nice and compact dessert list there. I'm gonna go and get my order in, but for all of you at home, I'm gonna make that dessert appear right now. And here it is, everyone. This is the signature Caramella tart. A beautiful tart plate here. I've got all of the ingredients assembled on the fork. Now, I must admit, I'm really full, but there's always a little bit of room for some dessert, right? Let's activate the dessert stomach. Give this a try. Oh, that's good. A nicely crafted dessert. We got some good flavors here. Now, the pie crust isn't anything to write home about. It's not stale, it is cooked well, a slightly crumbly texture to it, and a bit of a nutty taste. Now, we're working with a dark chocolate custard center. It's not overly sweet. I actually appreciate that the most about the custard. That dark chocolate custard here is nice and enjoyable. A salted caramel layer on top is actually very good. A nutty sweetness with a thick and viscous consistency, and as the name would imply, a little bit of a salty aftertaste. Now, you have something like a creme fraiche on top of this. Initially, I thought it was whipped cream, but it has a much more tangy flavor. I say much more, but that's just in comparison to whipped cream. I wouldn't say this has a tangy flavor profile. It's airy, sweet, and it complements the dark chocolate custard in this tart very well. A nice little way to end the meal. That was good. All right, everyone, now that's gonna do it for my dinner here at Caramella at the Planet Hollywood, Las Vegas. Everything that you saw in the video today came out to $526 before tip, and I did have a nice time here. I think the whipped ricotta crostinis were my favorite appetizer of the day. From my first round of Italian entrees, I really enjoyed that blue crab malfadine as well as the bolognese. But easily the best bite I had tonight was the king crab scampi. The food is solid, it's a beautiful restaurant, and I think once the weather becomes a little bit more agreeable, the patio here at Caramella is probably going to be one of the hottest dining spots in the entire strip. So if you're staying at the Planet Hollywood and looking for some Italian food, or you're interested in Caramella, I hope I've been able to give you some solid insight into what this restaurant's all about. All right, everyone, now that's going to do it for this week's video, where I'm continuing my quest to vlog every restaurant on the Las Vegas Strip as well as downtown on Fremont Street. I'll be returning next Saturday with the next installment. I hope you come back for that one. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a fantastic week, and I hope you enjoy Vegas with me, Shin. Bye.